Sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir, continue.
Okay, thank you. So, is fair enough. That doesn't mean that the quality is low, but still improvisation in the quality of the assessment is required. And for that, we have to build a structure how we can do this so that the assessment, a common standard form of assessment can be used in order to achieve higher levels of skills and attitude in the students. Let us take this question when we can say a graduate is a good engineer. In earlier decades, past 2 decades, the engineer is said to be good engineer if he just know the technical ability, if he has gained the knowledge of solving engineering problems or technical problems. But the present day 21st century engineers are expected to cultivate these attributes like leadership, problem solving, lifelong learning, communication, ethics, social responsibility, critical thinking, and teamwork. So, the written examinations that we are doing in order to assess the um, courses that are there in the engineering, is it sufficient enough to build all these things? For that question, no. We are not able to cultivate or implement the attributes other than the technical ability. So hence, we have to identify what are the attributes that come under technical and attributes that come under professional outcomes so that we can be able to reach the expectations of the present day employers so that the assessment also can be changed and a new reform in the examination can be brought. So, in order to have a quality of assessment, we have to improve the structure and the pattern of assessment in order to get a quality assessment, and it is inevitable. So, our program outcomes have been. We know that there are 12 program outcomes, or it is called as the graduate attributes, which has been discussed again in the yesterday's and day before yesterday's sessions. For that, we can classify these program outcomes into technical outcomes and outcomes that belong to the technical outcomes are the PO1 to PO5, which is nothing but engineering knowledge, problem analysis, design and development of solutions, conduct investigations, and modern tool usage. The next set of POs belong to professional outcomes, and we are able to implement this in the course outcome or course module, but this is not assessed. And the student or the graduate will be sincere, or he will take it in a serious manner only if it is subjected to assessment. So we are assessing these POs either by conducting the examinations, written examinations, or by conducting the laboratory examinations. But for these things like PO6 to PO12, we are not doing any justification with respect to assessment. So hence, how we can assess these things also so that we can bring about some seriousness in the graduates, in the students, as well as they can be, the same thing can be cultivated and we can expect a good, skilled graduates as outputs. The question is how we can assess this. So today's session is completely based on how we can do the bring about the structure in the assessment so that the quality of the assessment will improve. So the first 5 program outcomes which belong to the technical knowledge or technical as we listed here, and in each of the program outcome we can see complex engineering problems. The student will be able to solve or get the knowledge regarding complex engineering problems, analyze complex engineering problems, design complex engineering problems, investigate complex, model complex. What is this complex engineering problem is? So most of the faculty members may not be knowing the actual idea behind this complex engineering problems. Some of the faculties may know about it. However, most of us are just thinking that whatever the problems that we are solving is complex engineering problem. So, and these complex engineering problems are of higher order abilities. But the actual meaning, based on a literature survey, that suits or appropriate for an engineering is as follows. Complex engineering problem means the problems that are not a kind of problem encountered at the end of textbook chapters. That means if we are giving the problems from the textbook, then we are testing the content of the textbook with the students and not with the skills that they have obtained in the learning that they happen. And I can say there is hard learning that is taking place. There is no much learning that is happening in the problems that have been. That doesn't mean that we have to change the problem for a different textbooks. No. Eventually, the changes has to take place. So from the textbook problems to the other realistic problems, we have to select and we have to test. So we can't directly test without creating any structure for it. So hence, the problem has to be identified by the faculty member. Before assessing, the same thing has to be informed to the students, and then the assessment has to be done, as well as the level of assessment has to eventually increase, and it should not be a peak. The second meaning for the complex engineering problem is like this. These are the problems that have not been completely framed or leave some choices for the students to make. For example, in a subject called as the design of mechanical engineering or machine elements, students are allowed to select the materials. So for example, let us assume that students are asked to design a chair that is used for sitting. So only the aim of only the problem has been given to design the chair. There is no other data provided for the students. Now the students are allowed to select, or they have provided the choices in the selection of the material. They can go for. And what is the the factor of safety that has to be taken. So all these choices has to be given for the students. Those kind of problems can be considered as complex engineering problems. And the third set of meaning that is given for the complex engineering problem is problems that may require use of laws of physics or bring in some mathematical tools, in which the problem can be framed. So if we are using any mathematical tools for obtaining the results, then we can say that some those problems are considered to be complex engineering problems. So in the present day examinations, what we are doing, we are making the students to memorize whatever the things that they have been explained in the class or with respect to technical outcomes, and the same thing has been tested. And in 3 hours, okay, some students may memorize well and execute, where some students may not be able to, okay, execute the same. That means we are not checking the skill of the student, we are just checking the how far he can memorize and how best he can reproduce the same. And this won't help in the bringing up the skill in the student. So here is, as in the childhood days we do memorization of the tables. Okay, so our parents used to tell to memorize the tables, and we used to do. Okay, so same kind of practice is continued or incorporated in the students of in the degree level also, which has to be avoided, and that can be avoided. That means it doesn't mean that we have to entirely remove that examination process. It's a writing examination process. Writing examination process should also be there. With that, we have to incorporate few more methods, so that the student can be can enhance the ability in both technical set of outcomes as well as the professional set of outcomes. So the present day examination says like this: it's just a recall of factual knowledge, okay, and it is only one several major ability to be demonstrated by the graduate. That means it is now the major, okay, writing of examination, memorization of the concepts, and writing in the examination is just one of the major ability required to be demonstrated by the graduates, and there are still more abilities to be inculcated in the students, so that their abilities with respect to skill will improve. So we have to bring clarity to the structure. As I was mentioning, we have to bring some structure, we have to enhance the quality of assessment. Then how we can do this? What is the clarity for this question? Here is the thing: we have to change the method of assessment, which will be explained to you. The alignment of assessment should be with the course outcomes, desired course outcomes, and finally bringing about clarity in the level of learning that has to be achieved. So, as I told you, all the assessment methods are not suitable for all kind of course or all kind of learning outcomes. Okay, no assessment method is suitable, universally suitable for all the kind of outcomes. We have to decide which method is suitable for which kind of learning outcome, and based upon that we have to apply. What are the different methods that I'll be explaining in this? Next is, in order to align assessment with a particular type of learning outcome, we have to select an appropriate method of assessment. As I told you, okay, the different methods will be explained, and we have to make sure that the assessment is in line with the learning outcome. And we have this practice of written examinations and laboratory examinations, wherein we conduct the test, okay, in 2 or 3 different forms, okay, 3 different stages, and finally we conduct semester examination, okay. Similarly, the same thing is happening with the laboratory experiments and semester examinations also, but this is suitable only for obtaining the or achieving the technical outcomes. When it comes to the professional outcome, we have to go like these methods. That means we should make the students to conduct course projects. They should be able to do the mini or major projects. Obviously, students will be doing. So we should be make the students to do mini projects, open-ended lab experiments, which I explained in the previous session. Okay, form of assignment should be changed. Earlier, we usually what we do for assignments, we give some set of questions, and the students what they do is they just copy from their fellow mates. So hence this method of assessment should be changed, and the assignment, okay, should be taken in a different way. Next, we have to make the students to conduct seminars. We should be, okay, tell students to improve their communication skills. So communication skill will be improved here, okay, and in the mini major projects or course projects, students will be able to improvise their the teamwork, okay, ability, and okay, by identifying some okay, societal problems, they can assign those problems to students. They can improve. We can conduct some quiz. We can allow the students to do internship and professional practice, so that they get, okay, professional. They can be able to develop the which is related to, again, the professional outcome. So, hence, as I was mentioning, a structure has to be developed in order to okay, do the assessment and measure the attainment of the outcomes. Here is the one which helps out to prepare the structure, which is called as the course assessment plan, okay, called as CAP. At the before the start of any semester, the faculty, okay, group of faculty who have handled a particular course has to sit together and develop this course assessment plan, as well as the assessment methods they would like to have in the coming semester. So usually each faculty will be targeting to achieve the COs. First, he will define the COs, and his target will be to attain the COs. So, attainment of the COs should happen through the performance indicators. This also has been mentioned in the yesterday's session also, wherein all the outcomes, course outcomes, has to be attained through PIs, and later after it has to be linked with the POs. So hence the course outcomes has to be generated. For this course outcomes, PI has to be mentioned, and also in order to check the complexity or the level of complexity involved in the each CO, we have to mention the Bloom's taxonomy. So hence this is the major thing the faculty, the allotted faculty, or I can say the course coordinator, has to do with respect to the course outcomes. He has to identify the course outcomes. Later, he has to mention to which PI it belongs to. Later, the same thing has to be addressed to the PO. Okay, with the PI, the faculty will be having the clarity, okay, to which PO it belongs to, and later, so that we can assure that the course outcome can be able to use for attainment of the particular PO through PI, Okay, the POs are generic. The POs are generic, but the PIs are specific. So hence, these PIs can be used to show that the course outcomes are attained, and so that finally we can say the program outcomes are addressed. Also, the complexity should also be mentioned. Fine. So let me take the example of signal system. Again, I would like to acknowledge over here. This was the example taken by Dr. Prakash Tiwari in his presentation, and the same thing has been presented in front of you. So let me take two different subjects, okay, as an example to explain what is this course assessment plan, how we have to do. So here are some course outcomes in front of you, okay, and each course outcome has to be given weightage. And again, I mentioned this won't happen in a day. Okay, this will take the expertise, how many times the faculty has taken the subject, where it will be useful, okay, whether it is useful for the career, whether it is useful for the subject that will be learned in future. So based upon that, the percentage has to be given, weightage has to be given, okay, so that okay, it will be helpful for the assessment, okay. And if those COs which are important, if it has been assessed in a higher weightage, then it will be useful for the student, okay. So hence usually in each subject the first CO, okay, whatever they mentioned, just I'm telling in generic way, okay, it may not be also, okay, usually it will be with respect to the introduction of the subject. So hence the weightage for that can be given less, whereas the COs that are useful for the career, okay, of the student are in the future, that has to be identified, and this can happen when the faculties who have handled this subject, okay, sit together, okay, express their okay views or opinion with respect to the particular COs, and then they can finalize the percentage. The course coordinator can finalize after brainstorming with the different set of faculties with this, okay, with the various expertise, okay, and also with experience. They can mention and they can fix the percentage. After that, the assessment method has to be fixed. All these things should happen before the semester starts. The course coordinator has to, okay, sit and work on these things during his vacation period, and then he can fix upon the different assessment methods he want to do. It did not be only test, it did not be quiz, it did not be assignment. There is no hard and fast rule that, okay, all the assessment methods has to be used, or it is no hard and fast rule that a particular method has to be used for a particular subject. No, it is given to the freedom of the faculty how he would like to improve the skills in the student. Okay, here is an example for you, wherein the first two outcomes are achieved in the test 1, the second two outcomes are tested, okay, in the CIE test 2, okay. So again, the introduction, since the quiz is having okay, it is having low impact, but the weightage provided is low, low with respect to assessment, okay, we can use this, okay. However, all these COs will be addressed in semester end examination. Okay, and some of the assignment has to be given. Again, I mentioned here, assignment should not be a write-up, because we are already testing the students' write-up skills while conducting as well in the semester end examination. So hence the should be different type. Okay, like checking the, okay, giving some problems with respect to what is that, with respect to the real-time applications, or with linking with the laboratories, okay, like that we can give some assignments, okay, to the students, so that they can improve their program. So these things, the course project assignment will help out to bring about changes in the professional outcome, whereas the test 1, test 2, as well as the semester and examinations, okay, can help out to bring the, okay, improvement in only technical outcomes. Fine. So finally, the weightage, you can see the weightage that has been given after the assessment methods. So in test 1, 20% okay, of the marks will be allotted. In the test 2, 20% of the marks will be allotted. Okay, the quiz is having around 2%, assignment around 8%, semester and examination is of 50%, because student, okay, will be, okay, tested for his technical skills in the semester examinations, when 50% of the allotment has been given. So let us see one more example, called software engineering subject, wherein it has got around four outcomes. Here we can see again there is change in the weightage of the weightage that has been given for the assessment. Okay, so that again, there is no hard and fast rule that the first module has to be okay, the first course module outcome has to be awarded this much percentage, second it should always be 35%. There is no rule like that. Only the thing is that the weightage will be fixed based upon its usage and okay, its influence on the future career development or in the future subjects. Okay. So again, the assessment methods are here for you. So here you can see that the student is okay tested in only for write-up examinations in one, whereas all the course outcomes are tested with respect to course project. This may not happen in affiliated colleges because we have to compulsorily conduct the test and we have to take the average of the marks. But this this is suitable for autonomous colleges wherein they can have a different assessment methods. That doesn't mean that we should not use course projects or assignments. But with this, even if all the course outcomes are tested with the course project, even these course outcomes can be tested with the okay internal assessment or continuous internal evaluation. Okay, in order to satisfy our university rules or affiliated college university rules. The weightage is provided like this. We can see 50% of the semester end examinations, since they are writing the examinations, has been provided, and 30% has been. So in the previous example, only 10% we use for assignment. Okay, whereas here we can see around 30% of the skills are tested with respect to professional outcome. Okay, again, there is no rule that software engineering subject should be tested with the course project only. There is no hard and fast rule. It is the complete freedom should be given for the faculty based upon this experience and the brainstorming that happens. Okay, with this colleagues. Okay, those have handled the subject. Okay, we can decide the assessment methods and finally you can come to a conclusion. However, this course assessment plan has to be prepared before the examination starts, because this has to be given for the student. This has to be, okay, the student should know about these things before, okay, he starts learning. Okay. So write-up examinations play important role because we are awarding grades and also we are giving high weightage. You can see the previous two examples, we have almost given 60 to 70% of weightage for written examinations. But what should be the level of learning in that? Again, okay, the examinations conduct should be, okay, targeted to achieve the high levels, okay, which again explained through the Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, however, whatever may be the situation, the maximum level of learning or maximum Bloom's taxonomy level that can be achieved with the help of written examinations can be up to only level 4. Okay, and level 5 and level 6 can happen, okay, only through projects, mini projects, course projects, okay, assignments like this. So these things can be used, okay, to achieve those Bloom.
Hello, Chetan sir.
Sir, unmute ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ Chetan sir, please. Chetan sir, ನಿಮ್ದು ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ, ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸರ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್.
No, sir, it was visible.
If you could help there.
So now I think
yes,
audible,
yes.
sir?
You're audible, sir. You're audible. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Again,
is the slide visible, sir?
Slides are visible.
Okay, sir, thank you.
So, ಮತ್ತೆ unmute.
Okay, so
continue.
Audible, sir? Fine,
Yes,
sir. Thank
yes.
you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so hence the design of the question paper should not be only to recall the memory. We should even test for, as I mentioned, the complex engineering problems. Okay, that means it should not be only with respect to some textbooks or with respect to some content. Okay, we have to even test the knowledge what they have gained. Again, in a small summarized way, what I can say is we have to even test the written examinations for higher levels. So whenever we are conducting the examination, written examinations, these are the questions that arises. How many questions has to be given? Okay, what is the choice? Where we have to give the choice? Whether the choice has to be given, okay, between the COs or which has to be given within the COs. How much time allotment? Okay, for all these things, the answer is the choice has to be given within the CO, because let us assume that we are giving choice in CO1 and CO2. So what is the final expectation from the student? Either he will attend CO1 or the student will attend CO2. So we are not able to make the student to attend one of the COs. We are only bypassing, okay, allowing the student to bypass a CO. And how many questions has to be framed? The number of questions again is based upon the weight percentage that we presented in the CAP, course assessment plan. So in one of the example which I gave, it had 15% of what is it? 15% of weightage for assessment with respect to CO1, that is 30% for CO2, like that. Okay. So based upon the weight percentage that we have provided, we can go with a number of questions. Also, one more combination is that if we are testing the students for that higher percentage, weight percentage assessment in with respect to assignment or course outcome, then you can give more percentage of assessment and written examination for other COs. Okay, other than the higher percentage. Okay, for example, in the previous example I gave you, the second CO had 30%. Okay, if you are planning for course project, then the number of questions with respect to that course outcome can be reduced in the written examinations. We can give more emphasis in the CO1, CO3 and CO4. Like that, choice again with the freedom is given again for the faculty, but justification should be there. Okay, whether the weight percentage is justified and whether the whatever he has planned in the course assessment has been attained. Next, as I mentioned, what is the choice? Choice should not be between the course outcomes. It should be within a single course outcome. If you want to give the choice, then give within CO1 only. If you want to give course outcome for 2, give within the course outcome only. Don't give between 2 course outcomes. Okay, so that will lead to bypassing one of the outcome. Next, also don't give choice between the levels. Okay, Bloom's taxonomy levels. Okay, so don't for L1 and L4. So obviously the student will select L1 as the choice, and he will be writing that. So the level 4, whatever the level 4 Bloom's taxonomy was there, that has been again bypassed. We wanted to student to learn more, so hence the level of the Bloom's taxonomy level was fixed at L4. But by giving the choice, we are again making the student to bypass that level 4. And since level 1, level 2 Bloom's taxonomy levels are easier to attain, the students will obviously make the choice in that, and he will be writing the easier levels. Again, time allotment. Time allotment should be based upon the Bloom's taxonomy level. If it is like listing out some parameters or some categorization, we can give less marks and less time. And when it comes to the higher describe or apply, or design some component like that, we can give more emphasis on that since it belongs to the higher level of Bloom's taxonomy, and we can allot more time for that. Time allotment should also be taken with respect to the Bloom's taxonomy level. There should be some difference between the at Bloom's taxonomy level. Here we can see the structure. We should see that all the COs are addressed in the examination, the percentage weightage for each CO, as I mentioned over here, how many questions is based upon the percentage weight that has to be given, and we should also check that whether all the PIs performance indicators are being tested. Okay. Next, that doesn't mean that a single course, okay, should address all the PIs. Okay, that is not the rule, but we should see that whether entire the program, okay, is addressing this PIs with various activities. Next is, again, I told you how the choice should be and time allotment should be. So these two things are coming under the quality. Okay, the complexity, the level, okay, and the choice, the time allotment, okay, will obviously help out to prepare a quality examination, and hence these things are to be kept in mind before we are setting the questions in the question paper. So here is an example for you, okay, so which is called as the question paper structure, QPS, model of the question paper, wherein the questions will be there, marks will be allotted, CO addressed, again it is based upon the PI, okay, and finally we have to write the Bloom's level. Okay, so here is the quality matrix that has to be developed, okay, before starting the with respect to the written examination, and this has to be done, okay, before starting the semester. Here you can see the template. So for a subject, okay, you can see that for L1 5 marks has been given, for L2 5 marks has been given, for L3 10 marks has been given, okay, and CO1 is addressing all the three levels, and here you can see higher marks are provided for the higher levels, so that you can say that higher quality skills has been implemented in the students, and even the weight, okay, this has been done for 80 marks, and the weight percentage, okay, the percentage of marks that has been awarded is like this. We can see, so from the different questions, we can see that the L3 has got around 43 percentage, L4 is around 15 percentage, okay, whereas L1 and L2 is 1626. So around 42 percentage of what is that assessment L1 and about 58 has been done from L3 and L4. As I told you, the written examinations can only address these 4 Bloom's taxonomy levels. So since the exam reforms FDP has been done, okay, it should not mean that we have to jump from 42, okay, we have to address L1 and L2 only for 20%, and 80% has to be addressed in L3 and L4. No, eventually we should keep in the mind the freedom that is available in the course, as well as the quality of students that we are, okay. So keeping all these things in mind, eventually this has to shift, okay, towards L3 and L4, okay. So the 42% should not get directly reduced to 10%. And it doesn't mean that the L1 and L2 should be within 10%, no, okay. But higher percentage should be with respect to L3 and L4. Since these are considered as the higher orders should have more weightage. That is the concept. Okay. Next, we should see whether we should prepare prepare outcome alignment matrix. Okay, OAM, or everywhere it is called as the quality alignment matrix, QAM. Okay, we should see whether all the COs has addressed, okay, in the question paper. And what is the weight percentage? See, weight percentage of the marks, whether it is suiting for weight percentage of the COs that has been described in the course assessment plan. CAP as well as this one has to be cross-checked. Okay. So finally, we have to prepare a QAM like this. Okay, Bloom's taxonomy level. So you can see around 20% is for L2. L3 is 40%, L4 is 40%. This is an example for a particular subject, and whether CO1, CO2, CO3, CO4 has been achieved. Okay, so this visual summary has to be done with the help of Excel. This is an example for different subjects, wherein 19% of subject has been with respect to L2, L3 81%. L4 may not be achieved because it may be a theoretical subject wherein no problems are not involved, so much analysis may not be there in the subject. So hence it is with respect to L2 and L3. And course outcomes you can see over here. So the distribution of marks for each course outcome, and we have to check whether it is matching with the weight percentage. So it should not be mean that if you are maintaining 30% in the course assessment plan, the same 30% has to be tested here. No, small variations can happen. Okay, but there should not be much variation with respect to the weight percentage we have provided and the testing that we are doing. Okay. So hence, final remarks that we can obtain is the following things has to be developed. Okay, if we have to bring about the improvement in the structure and the quality, okay, of the assessment. So hence, the course assessment plan has to be prepared. Next, we have to prepare the question paper structure, and finally, we have to check with the quality and alignment matrix. And all these things will help out to bring about changes in the consistency, bring about the quality in the question paper, okay, alignment with the outcomes, and finally we can have, okay, clarity in the expectation from the student. So all these things, okay, has to happen, okay, only with the help of brainstorming or with the discussions with the colleagues, okay, who are handling the subject or the course, and based upon that only the guidelines has to be set in order to prepare the question paper, and the question paper has to be reviewed by all those who are handling the subject. Finally, I would like to mention this one. So whenever if we are taking a course, obviously the course will be having its course outcomes, and course outcomes, okay, are to be tested either with the help of CIE, SEE, project, lab, assignment, rubrics, okay. All these things can be used to test or assess the, okay, assessment methods can be used to test, and we should see that different activities are, okay, used in order to achieve the different PIs. Okay, so all the PIs or all the CAs cannot be achieved by a single course. I know that. However, a single PI should not be addressing 2 or 3 activities. So we should see that okay, each PI will be addressing each activity. Again, yesterday it was been explained how we can tabulate what are the different course outcomes are addressing, what are different PIs are. So with this, okay, we can bring about some gap analysis, and those PIs not be, okay, can be different way. Other than the written examinations, we can have a seminar, or okay, we can call for lectures, expertise lectures and all, and we can make them to attain. However, if we are making, okay, the student to attain a lecture course or any online course, okay, or expertise talk, then those things are also be tested. Okay, if they are not tested, then we can't claim that they are assessed. Only the course outcome is there and the activity has been done, the activity is not tested. In the earlier in the starting stage of presentation, I mentioned that if the assessment is not done, then there will not be any seriousness in the student. Okay, and then obviously we can't attain those COs or the PIs. We can't claim that the PIs are attained. Okay. So finally, this will address, the PIs will address the competencies through which in turn we can claim that the course has attained the particular PO. This is an example for you. So here are some examination model question papers, how it has to be prepared will be explained to you, or it will be shown to you, so that you will be getting an idea how written examination should be planned, or what I can say, the question paper structure, how it should be. So here is the subject from Mechanics of Materials of Mechanical Engineering subject. there you can see a question has been given, okay, and it has been mentioned that the problem, okay, is awarded with 10 marks. The CO1 is written, this is the CO1, okay. The Bloom's taxonomy level is L3, and it is okay, suitable for the 1.3.1, okay. So those who are of other branches, just you can see the structure, not the content in the. You can just see the how it should put it. One more example. Again, this will the CO is the CO5 is addressed. Bloom's taxonomy level is L4, and this is addressing 2.2.3 PI number 2.2.3, which says that identify existing process or solution methods for solving the problem, including forming justified approximations and assumptions. So this can happen merely with the expertise and experience of the faculty member. And here is a subject for you: mechanical vibrations, okay, which has been claimed with the 2.1.3. So advanced geotechnical engineering, which belongs to civil engineering. This question belongs to 1.3.1 and 2.1.2, which says that identify engineering system variables and parameters to solve the problems. Construction project management, again civil engineering. So this is the question. 20 marks has been allotted, L4. So more weightage, more marks has been allotted, okay. And again, the 2.2.3 is suitable for this PI. So like this, each activity or each question has to be planned in order to achieve the different question. Circuit analysis, which belongs to electronics and electrical department. Here is the PI that is suitable for or appropriate for this question. LIC, linear integrated circuits, which belongs to again the electrical and electronics department. Okay, so this is the question framed by a faculty, and this is the PI which belongs to that. Digital signal processing and VLSI circuits. Here is the PI that is addressing these questions. Like this, we can have different activities or questions for addressing the different PIs, so that we can claim more PIs, and we can say that okay, the particular PIs are appropriate for the particular COs. In turn, we can claim that the respective POs are appropriate for the course. Okay. So with this, I would like to come to a conclusion of this. I would like to conclude this session, and so thank you for patience listening. I hope I have given knowledge that I have acquired with the presentations from the professors of KLE University. If any queries are there, you can just post it, and I can answer up to my knowledge. Thank you very much. Over to the coordinator.
Dear participants, if you have any doubts, so you can just post it in chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask. Okay.
Sir, this is Professor Ravi Kumar here. Chetan sir, if you could hear me. Sir, you said that the co-curricular activities like the expert lecturer or any other thing what you provide student to gain some other knowledges, and you said that that has to be assessed. That one, how could we assess that? Can be a written test or a feedback kind of thing we can take, or anything you suggest, sir?
Sure, that can be assessed with the help of quiz. So once, for example, okay, a topic has been discussed, industrial person has come over, okay, and has given a lecture on that topic. So the same topic can be assessed with the help of quiz.
Okay.
That would be appropriate, and even but with that we can't gain higher level Bloom taxonomy level assessment cannot be done with the help of that okay, quiz or something like that. However, those also has to be addressed because we are mentioning that the activity that has been conducted is with respect to that particular PI.
Yes.
Then, if that particular PI is left out, okay, without assessment, then there is no justification for that. Okay, so various methods can be used, but the suitable method would be either a feedback on that. Okay, what is the opinion that the student is having, or the best method is that he can go for a quiz.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any doubts? Okay.
So I would like to take this opportunity to thank the coordinators for providing an opportunity to give the presentation, and also I would like to thank the management of ATMEC, principal, HOD of Department of Mechanical Engineering for providing an opportunity for giving the presentation, and even which helped me in turn to enhance my knowledge with respect to okay, improvising the structure and assessment methods. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Chetan sir, for sharing your valuable knowledge and detailed information on the topic. So we are at the end of the program. So before that, I would like to inform all the registered participants that they will receive the e-certificates upon filling the day 3 feedback form. And also I would like to inform that the resource materials of the FTP program will be shared through the Google Drive. And the link for the Google Drive will be shared through the mail that you have sent, and also we will share the drive link in the Telegram channel. So now I request Professor Devaraj MR, Department of Mechanical Engineering, to propose a vote of thanks.
Okay.
Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I am audible, sir.
Yes, sir.
We have come to the last stage of this program, that is a 3 days national level faculty development program on ACT exam reforms and overview. So to express the gratitude to all, first of all, I would like to express my sincere thanks wholeheartedly to the management on behalf of the Department of Mechanical Engineering, and of course on behalf of ATMECE for their support and directions to conduct this program. So I also thank sincerely to our principal, Dr. L. Basavaraj, on behalf of the department for their encouragement and conduction of this program. So I thank wholeheartedly to Dr. Ratnakar sir, Dean, on behalf of the department for their initiative and stimulating us to conduct 3 days FDP. Also would like to express my heartfelt thanks to Professor and Dean, Dr. Govinda Gowda, and Professor Dean, Dr. Bhagyashree Madam. So my sincere thanks to our HOD, Dr. Srinivasa K, for their encouragement and guidance to execute this program. So on behalf of the Department of Mechanical Engineering, I thank all the heads of the department from different departments. I also would like to extend my thanks wholeheartedly to the event coordinators, Mr. Tej Kumar and Mr. Pavan Kumar, for their constant effort in view of smooth conduction of this 3 days FDP without any hurdles. For any program, participants are important. So my sincere thanks to all participants to attend with active participation for this program. I express my sincere thanks to all the participants on this occasion. So I thank personally and on behalf of the department of all the on behalf of the department to all the speakers to share their information and their views in connection to AICT exam reforms about the need of OBE and its implementation, understanding graduate attributes, Bloom taxonomy, revised Bloom taxonomy, and need of revisits to lab experiments, etc. So once again, I thank all the speakers for sharing their informations and views in this connection. So finally, I thank all the staff members to join their hands for successful conduction of this program. Thank you, one and all.
Kindly share all PPTs. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. The PPTs and all the details will be shared in the Google.
They are very informative.
Can any participant can give us feedback? Please unmute yourself, state your name and department, and please give us a valuable feedback, sir.
I am Dr. Vikas Rao Wadi from Delhi.
Thank you, sir.
I am from Don Bosco Technical School. Basically, let me tell you, say in few seconds about Don Bosco. We are into skill-based training to the youth. We are into 137 countries and altogether 2,100 institutions all over the world. We basically train students into charitable mode only. We don't charge much fees out of the students. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
You're
sir.
audible.
Yes, sir.
Good to
Right,
know you
right.
are doing very
So
good
the
service to the society. Please continue, sir.
only aim is to provide that technology to the person who is at the lowest level in the society. Right. This is
Yes.
basically the aim of the Don Bosco. You might have heard about the name of Don Bosco. Right.
Yes, yes, sir.
So
Yes.
all this under this pandemic, this was altogether this basically workshop on examination reforms. What somewhat different what we are attending, these days. So for assessment, everyone is thinking that under this situation, how students will be assessed. Right. This is the
Yes, sir.
major say challenge for any of the teacher for assessment of students during this situation. So all faculty members and all professors, those who have shared their thoughts throughout these 3 days were wonderful. The presentations were also very nice, and the pedagogy what they have used, they have taken combinedly of say all multidisciplinary basically, and they evolved this education also. So I thank all the organizers. It was really wonderful, and all the speakers, those who have contributed and shared their knowledge throughout this FDP. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your good words, and I wish you all the best with the social initiative you've taken from the Don Bosco side. And may God bless your institution and all the students at your institution. So thank you for your valuable
Thanks a lot.
feedback.
Please don't forget to share PPTs. Thank you.
Sure, sir. We'll be doing it definitely. Anyone else, please? Pawan sir, if there are no participants giving their feedback, I think should we be
Yes, sir.
conclude it, sir? Conclude it.
Yes, sir. So finally, we are concluding the 3-day national level FTP program on AICT exam reforms and overview. So I heartily thank all the participants for joining with us. So hope you have got enough knowledge on the concept. So thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Same to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.